Here's a look at the highlights of 19 hours here at the Rolex 24. Grand Marshal Hurley Haywood gave the command to start engines. Ganassi cars across the front row. Scott Pruitt got away well from pole. Scott Dixon not so well, and it was a jumble.
Early in the going on pole sitter in GT, Nick Tandy had a big hit with the wall, major damage to the right side. Lost many minutes in the pits, and they've dropped down the order since. Then there was a big moment for our defending champions, A.J. Allmendinger. Suddenly had the suspension brake, lucky to get away with it. This cost the team 7 laps, but they've clawed their way back onto the lead lap.
It's definitely lucky he saved that car. The new GX class, it's been all about attrition, Dorsey.
This is the first of the Sky Active diesels to have a problem. Now they got the car running again, but it broke. And then finally, the sister car, and this is Sylvain Tremblay, Speed Source Mazda 6.
And the class has been dominated by the Napleton Porsche number 16, driven for much of the night by David Donahue. Love that livery.
When the car looks that clean, normally means you're having a good day. Another restart there. You can see the 02 struggling. They've got some electrical issues there. Came back to haunt them a little bit later in this race. Then we saw some drama coming off NASCAR 2. The 80 car cuts down a tire, goes for a wild ride.
Still busy.
They have had so many problems with that 80 car, and they were not alone. A spin in the chicane for the 68 from TRG.
Narrowly missed there by the 8-star Daytona prototype. Then Alex Figge had a quick spin in the APR Audi.
You can tell how slippery this infield's getting through the chicane, and here goes another. This was a very lucky save. Not what saved him was that sand.
And the gap in the wall there between the tire walls. One of the Park Place cars going around.
To be a favorite spot for the action. Then we saw a great battle here between Jamie McMurray in the 02 and Alan McNish, the little terrier. Then Jamie had a problem coming out of his pit stall, ran over an air hose. That cost him a drive-through penalty. Lots of action there as we hit the nighttime hours. Then this was really scary. Jan Magnussen next in his pit box. Look at that wheel fly from the Brumos camp.
Luckily didn't hit anybody. Did draw a penalty. And this, a muffler bracket that broke. Now the exhaust is dragging on the ground. Michael Schenk's guys. I'm sorry, not Michael Schenk's.
That's the 90 car.
Right,
yep,
90 car.
This is the number 6 car. So a penalty for a violation in the queue under the caution. Passing a slower car when they weren't supposed to. Car owner Michael Schenk was livid.
He felt violated, I think. And he certainly made his feelings known. He has got a lot of passion, and that's why he's got his car back on the lead lap, because he keeps digging. Halfway point, Dario Franchitti. Not a big deal, you think, after 24 hours, but don't forget that North American Endurance Championship. Bonus points were awarded every 6 hours.
And then more problems for the 02. There's Jamie McMurray, who hit the pit wall dealing with his pit lane speed limiter on the way out. That cost the Ganassi 02 car 6 laps getting fixed.
Then comes the fog, and I drove in the year that they stopped it totally. This time they put it behind the yellow, behind the pace car for quite a long time.
Team Velocity Worldwide, Bob, have been dramatic in terms of how they've stayed in this game, and certainly the efficiency of that pit crew led by Simon Hodgson has been a major key.
The crews have been outstanding in this event. They've made big differences for their drivers when they're able to knock out a good stop.
Well, hey, Concalves gets it all wrong down in the brake zone. That was just a mistake, Dorsey. You don't take that sort of risk with all that GT traffic. You're going to hit someone.
And that car was retired as a result. Problems for the number 2 from Starworks. Put up such a great battle last year. Over and over at the chicane. Locking up the tires.
You can do that as long as you don't improve your position and you stop up here and get way back in.
Ultimately, the tire did explode. He kept working on that flat spot. Broken nose, but they got him back in the game, and they too are back on that lead lap again.
And then our GT class leader. A bizarre, watch
that couldn't have happened at a worse place, right in front of pit lane.
Suspension breaks, tire pops.
You can see the driver's taking a bit of a breather there on the banking, and then we saw a battle here for the GT lead. Mark Wilkins gets attacked in the brake zone by the 63 machine. He gets turned around, and a penalty for the 63 car. The 69 car continues and runs up in the top 4.
So here's where we stand in terms of class leaders. The 01. Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates, BMW Riley, that started from pole in the hands of Scott Pruitt, is the race leader, but by just under 2 seconds from the second place car in the hands of Jordan Taylor. Memo Rojas currently in the 01. Here's the battle in GT. Nicholas Armindo in the 44 from Magnus Racing. Oliver Jarvis in the number 24 Audi R8. And it must be said, Audi, who came to this race last year with, what, 2 cars and learned what it is to try to do 24 hours at Daytona International Speedway. They've come back with 4 cars this year, and they have been very strong in GT.
Well, certainly we saw some action there with those Ferraris at the front of the pack, and the question is, how is that 69 car doing, Chris?
Well, Mark Wilkins has dropped back to 4th after being hit by the 63, and Ian Willis is the team principal here at AIM Autosport. And Ian, when I initially heard Mark on the radio, he was concerned about flat spotting the tires after that slide. What condition is the car in?
Yeah, he came on the radio and did say he's worried about the tires. He said they're okay for now. He doesn't have any big vibration. It's just a small flat spot. Hopefully they'll clean up and he won't lock them up. It was a bit of a disappointing maneuver with so much race still to go.
Well, he's clicking off some good times right now, and this is also a weekend that Ferrari North America has all of their dealers here, a lot of top brass from Ferrari. What do you think their reaction to that hit was?
Well, I don't know. I mean, racing is a tough sport. And whether it was a Ferrari or another car that hit us, we're disappointed.
Well, these guys still have a lot of fight in them. They're sitting 4th right now. We've got 7 cars in the lead lap in GT.
Let's underscore the Ferrari presence here at Daytona International Speedway. On Friday, the North American Ferrari Challenge ran its first event ever here at Daytona. And you'll see that race Saturday at 3 p.m. here on Speed.
Those cars are really cool. That's a great little series. We've got about 7 drivers in the Rolex 24-hour field here today that have taken part in that challenge series in the last couple of years.
And ironically,
training ground.
Since they're not racing against any other kind of a car but their own, there's no restrictors put on them, there's no anything put on them, and they're really fast.
In other words, no sandbagging.
No sandbagging. Yeah, full out.
This 44 car has been strong. Nicholas Armando brought into the car and made Ratz has left, and one of the Audis this weekend, but Armando was an ELMS GTE champion last year, don't you? He knows how to tell one of these Porsches.
Absolutely, and really the only problems they've been having is that front splitter that they keep knocking off cross curves. They put several of those on. Of course, it's very much needed. It's for the downforce on the nose of the car, with it being a rear-engine car. But they keep addressing that issue. You can see it's all clear up again, but that is a very strong car.
See that ducting on the Audi really fluttering there down these high-speed straightaways. Key with that Audi is it seems to be really good as the tires wear goes down a little bit and they get further into the stint. That seems to maintain a balance where the Porsche seems to get a little sketchy. If you keep throwing tires at the Porsche, they'll be in good shape, but the Audi seems to be able to double stint tires and maintain a balance. There's been a lot of work done on that car in Grand Am spec over the last year or so, Dorsey.
Those Porsches tend to run off the rear tire because they got most of the weight back there and so forth. So they, at the end of their stint, definitely are a little bit off song compared to the Audi, which seems to have a better balance on the long run.
When you consider the last, 4.5 hours or so of this race, who do they have on the bench in terms of drivers they can put in this number 44 Porsche? They're not too bad off. Former champion Andy Lally and Porsche factory driver Richard Lees. So the 44 looks to be in good shape.
Your child doesn't know how many engineers it took to design your tires, or which tread designs didn't make the cut. Your child doesn't care about road surface conditions. Your child doesn't care because they put their trust in you. Which tires are you going to put your trust in? Continental Tires. Innovative technology. Driving confidence.
Alka-Seltzer Plus presents The Cold Truth.
I have the flu. I took Theraflu, but I still have this cough.
Truth is, Theraflu doesn't treat your cough.
What?
It doesn't have a cough suppressant.
Great.
Alka-Seltzer Plus Severe Cold and Flu fights your worst flu symptoms plus that cough with a fast-acting cough suppressant.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's the cold truth.
Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Oh, what a relief it is.
To learn more about The Cold Truth and save $1, visit Alka-Seltzer on Facebook.
The Capital One Cash Rewards card gives you 1% cash back on all purchases, plus a 50% annual bonus. And everyone but her likes 50% more cash. But I have an idea. Do you want a princess dress?
Yeah.
Cupcakes?
Yeah.
Do you want an Etch-a-Sketch?
Yeah.
Do you want 50% more cash?
No.
You got talent.
The Capital One Cash Rewards card gives you 1% cash back on every purchase, plus a 50% annual bonus on the cash you earn. It's the card for people who like more cash.
That's why you want it.
I usually say that.
We now offer phone service as low as $1.70 a month with Magic Jack Plus. That's $19.95 a year. No computer needed. Nothing changes. And now keep your old phone number. That's right. Keep your old phone number. Get Magic Jack Plus at Radio Shack.
No garage is complete until you fire up a Hot Rod Grill. This realistic engine barbecue has a stainless grill, aluminum block, heads, and intake. Watch as your exhaust smoke comes right out of the zoomies. Order by phone or log on to HotRodGrills.com today.
Great day for a move.
Yeah, you want to help?
Nah, I'm good. Hey, I still owe you that $500?
Yeah, and one more.
You've got DirecTV.
Yeah.
Call them. They'll hook up your new pad with phone and super fast internet, and you can get that whole home DVR upgrade for free. I just saved you over $500. It's like you owe me now.
The Movers Deal. Call now to bundle, plus get our most advanced DVR upgrade for free.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema.
I am Police Officer Brian Taylor. This is my partner, Officer Zavala.
I'm in my chonies.
I know, dude. We work the toughest divisions in the LAPD. I got him. Oh, my God. Got a hit on y'all, man.
These guys, they operate by a different set of rules.
I was in on my life for you, dude.
End of watch. Now playing on DirecTV Cinema. Movies start at channel 125.
NASCAR is back, and the Motorsports Authority is your destination for Speed Week's biggest events. ARCA, the Duel at Daytona, the Camping World Truck Series, and more. And leading up to the Great American Race, get the ultimate setup with NASCAR Race Day fueled by Sunoco. Speed Weeks from Daytona kicks off February 14th live. And tickets are still available starting at $65 for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. You'll witness the debut of the new Gen 6 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race car. For more information, go to Daytona500.com. And we know the weather has been pretty crummy around a lot of the country with frigid temperatures. Trust me when I say coming to Daytona in January is a treat.
Never been to this race before. This is one of my picks for anybody to come to. It's funny because, you know, it's a 24-hour long race. You come here, you watch the stars, you watch it go in the dark, you go into town, you eat one of the great restaurants, you come back, watch a little bit, go back to your hotel, go to bed, come back next morning, have breakfast. You know, it's just ongoing. You always see the tunnels, traffic coming, traffic going.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely. Great time here.
Fantastic atmosphere, and I tell you, as a driver, when you drive through that tunnel, Dorsey, there's nothing like seeing those high banks.
My hair still stands on end. I come in this place every year, and it's so magical. You know, having driven here at Daytona 500, having driven here many 24 hours, it just gets you going. I mean, it just, oof.
There's Jordan Taylor in the 10-car Velocity Worldwide machine from Wayne Taylor Racing. You guys have raced here. Let me ask, is it true that during the night, flying around the racetrack at full chat, you can smell the barbecue from the camping areas?
With my nose, Bob, you can
smell it.
Mine too. Yeah, you can actually. You know, it was funny because when I drove the Trans Am car all those years, you couldn't smell as much stuff in there because of all the carbon dust. And when I got in Dyson's open cockpit car here, I could smell somebody cooking cattle popcorn. So I told the crew, go get me some of that. It's somewhere by turn one, and I want some.
There's your third place car, the number 9 from Action Express, Bert Frizzell. One of a couple of brother pairings we've had here. Bert and brother Brian, the Taylor boys, of course. And don't forget that mother-son combination in the GT class, the first ever here at Daytona. Melanie and Madison Snow from Utah.
Yeah, certainly a new lease on life for Bert Frizzell. Only did one Daytona prototype race last year. Kind of disappeared, but he and his brother are back, been drafted in to the Action Express team, who let go 3 of their drivers last year. And certainly done a great job here. He's a really solid young man. Co-drove with Mark Wilkins for a long time. Co-drove with his brother in the early years of their Daytona prototype career. Has a lot of speed and is just really, really solid.
Just went by the GX class leading Napleton Porsche. And there's the 60 with Justin Wilson, 4th in class and the race, about 18 seconds down to leader Memo Rojas in the 01.
At 4:22 p.m. yesterday, Bob, that car was 7 laps down. Now they're 18 seconds out of the lead.
I think they've come back from 6 or 7 laps down twice in this race.
Yeah, they have, in fact. And Michael Schaeff, when they were interviewing him earlier, he said, you know, I can't believe the work these guys have done. It's been such an emotional roller coaster to be down that far. And now he goes, if I get my lap back, you know, I'm on the full attack, and that's exactly where we are right now. You know, we've still got a long way to go, 4.5 hours left.
That's why there's a real strategy to these races now with this safety car procedure allowing you to gain a lap back if you're one of the lap down cars. It just changes the whole ball game, and it's going to come down to a shootout. These guys who are tweaking on the rear wings, making these little adjustments, you're trying to fine tune. That's almost like you're at a test session, Dorsey. You're trying to maximize the car. Normally you just let it run, make sure it's reliable. Now you know if there's another reset with a couple hours to go, you have to have the fastest car out there, and you need your car at 100%.
That's the difference. When you won your 24 and I won my 24, that rule wasn't in place. If we got down 5 laps, we were pretty much out of it. And there was no way to keep the crew and the crew members up in their emotional game. You know, now you can just say, calm down, boys. We'll put it back.
We just need to hand them a sheet with the procedure and say, remember this?
Yeah.
Let's keep digging.
We can still win. This. And we didn't have that option, so I applaud them for this. It's a good idea.
All with Ricky Taylor. What an impressive young man. Startling start to his Daytona prototype career, and then mid-year, I'm sure he doesn't want us reminding him of this. Boy, did he have a rough patch, Dorsey. The car was quick, clouded the pit wall coming out of the pits of Detroit, had the spin under caution at Road America whilst in the lead, and that really rocked his confidence, but he bounced back big. They won the final round of the championship at Lime Rock Park, and then he moved on to this new team for this year, and he and Westy are going to be a real threat for this championship.
I noticed something on that shot that I've seen a lot, no matter what class of racing. I originally saw it with rally drivers. Now, you think of a sport where there's dust and smoke and dirt, and carbon, and stuff flying everywhere. Race drivers, when they're concentrating fully, don't seem to blink their eyes a lot.
They don't. It's amazing because I've seen my onboard camera of myself, and you're not cognizant that you're not blinking, but that's the concentration level. You're so focused on what you're looking at, and you're so reading it. Watch his eyes. He is completely looking where the car's going to go next, and he's not even conscious of not blinking, but he can go for a long, long time like that. It's amazing. When I tried to wear contacts and drive, I couldn't do it because the wind got in the contacts and made me keep blinking. But without them, not a problem. Of course, I couldn't see.
Here's the 0-2. Scott Dixon, Indy 500 winner, 7th in class and the overall for Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates.
Timing and scoring keeps updating, and he's basically 2 3/4 laps down. Sometimes they'll show 2 laps, sometimes 3 laps, depending on where the leader is. But essentially, 2 3/4 laps down, and the key is 4.5 hours to go. So again, we get a couple more caution periods, and they don't have any issues. They're going to be back on the lead lap. We know the car has pace. It took the cloud from Jamie McMurray, so it may not be optimal, but he's shown pace. All of their drivers have in getting them, clawing this car back to the front of the Daytona prototype field.
They've been dealing with that electronic issue with the pit lane speed limiter and the shifting. Got Scott Dixon at the start. We saw the other drivers in that crew have problems with it on restarts.
It's been really problematic. A number of pit lane speed violations. Joey Hand got caught out when he immediately got in the car. Jamie Mack had one that he was dealing with, obviously, and then got a little bit frustrated with it and lost focus and hit the pit exit barrier. And certainly on the restart, Scott Dixon on the initial start and subsequent restarts, they seem to be getting up into that rev limiter that then inhibits the shifting.
There's Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, Worldwide Motorsports head of Audi. Crisp and pressed as always.
Checking in with all his engineers and getting the latest rundown, I'm sure, and how his teams are progressing.
For how many frequent flyer miles that fella has. Matt Yoakum.
And those fast Audis, Bob, are in chase mode, trying to reel in that 44. And down here in the Audi pits, side by side on pit road, absolutely no team orders. 2 separate agendas. These guys, running their own race on both cars. This should be a really exciting one to the finish. This is shaping up to be one of those epic battles.
Epic battle right now, Matt, as the Audi is knocking on the door of the lead Porsche. Number 44 Magnus Racing, defending champions here. But again, Audi are making a huge push. They want to sell here. They really want to expand their Audi Sport customer program here. They've said, Romulo Liebchen has said, who's the head of that division, everyone toying with the idea of getting involved in Grand Am should put an R8 on their short list of options. And after the performance here, I think that may happen.
It's kind of interesting to see as Jordan Taylor will lap through those GT cars how the Audi driver tried to position himself to block the other two guys in if he could have done that.
Curious to see what Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich's take is on this race. Now remember, with the merger coming next year between the ALMS and Grand Am, they've basically said that the high-tech P1 machines will not be allowed to compete even at Sebring and Petit Le Mans. It's all about our race cars. Well, maybe Audi will look to see what Corvette have done, what Ford are doing, what BMW are doing. Maybe we'll still see an Audi prototype, but more in a Daytona prototype guise. And probably the investment is a lot less than they're spending to compete at Le Mans.
Absolutely. We're hearing some problems with the 69 Ferrari. Maybe right rear issue. I don't know if it's tire or if it's suspension, but they're coming in to take a look.
Took a clip there, and the bodywork was certainly ajar. Well, Mark is pretty sensitive. He'll be feeling out in the Kias. Don't take any chance. If you think there's something wrong, you're getting close to your pit window, let's do it now and take a look.
Talked a lot about pit lane speed limit violations. I've been texting back and forth with Speed.com's Marshall Pruitt down at the media center. He's been doing some inquiring. According to officials, there have averaged 3 to 4 pit lane speed limit penalties per yellow flag, and there's been 13 yellow flags, so do the math. To Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, we talked about the flat-spotted tires that Mark Wilkins was having to deal with after that contact, the other Ferrari on the racetrack, and he just said that the vibration was getting worse and worse, so they wanted to finally bring him in rather than having him use his head, potentially have a run on the racetrack. So that was unscheduled stop, fuel tires, and mainly just because of the contact on those flat-spotted tires because of the spin down in turn 1.
See just behind the right rear that the bodywork is just outside its normal line. 73 car. Certainly been in the wars a little bit, as you can tell.
Yeah, it's got most of its right rear and bodywork missing. Some things dangling around back there.
Daniel Gray.
All of that bodywork missing.
He was a big winner of the putt-putt competition at Camp Boggy Creek the other day, so he's had a win already this week.
Did that pay big?
You notice the Children's Tumor Foundation on the door. It's a Racing for Research project, one of a large number of cars in this field that are using the Rolex 24 this year and every year to raise money for great charities like Camp Boggy Creek. Another break coming up. Well, you want to look good for the finish, so I guess you better... Oh, this is to work the king set. I thought we were just steaming the shirt to look good for the photographers.
They're coming out of the hills to conquer the world.
You think your little Euro trash ride can beat my American muscle?
John Reap and his Mullet Mafia pit muscle against import in an epic 3-round battle for a $10,000 paycheck.
He's gonna ram that American muscle all the way down your throat.
Don't mess with rednecks, man. Are you faster than a redneck? Bring it on. Catch a special preview after the trucks race, February 22nd, only on Speed.
You gotta learn how to win. Take each step to become a champion.
This is Sheldon, whose long day setting up the news starts with arthritis pain and a choice. Take Tylenol or take Aleve, the #1 recommended pain reliever by orthopedic doctors. Just 2 Aleve can keep pain away all day. Back to the news.
The #1 killer of people under 45 and a leading cause of death for all adults can't be detected by a doctor. It's sudden. It's unpredictable. Know what that killer is? Accidents. Nobody likes to think about it. But if you were the victim of an accident, what would happen to your family? In addition to the tragedy of your loss, they'd have to deal with the stress of one less paycheck, possibly the only paycheck. That's why it makes sense to protect your family with insurance through Matrix Direct. You can get $50,000 of coverage for less than $9 a month. There's no medical exam, no health questions, no application. You can't be turned down. All it takes is one phone call, and you're covered.
For a free quote, call Matrix Direct at 1-800-888-3049 or go to matrixprotects.com.
Do it now, because accidents happen when they're least expected.
Call 1-800-888-3049 or go to matrixprotects.com.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get everything you needed for your small business for free?
like a building for free, a company car for free, your business website built for free. The cost to have your website professionally built can be thousands of dollars, but for a limited time, you can have yours built by the experts at Web.com absolutely free. And that's not all. Web.com will promote your new website in all the major search engines, like Google, Yahoo, and Bing. If you're happy with your new website, we'll continue to provide promotion, hosting, support, and maintenance, all for just one low monthly fee. If not, cancel and pay nothing. Call now to get your new site up and running in as little as 7 days free. Over 1 million small businesses rely on Web.com every day. Call now and find out why.
Call 1-800-862-9481 today. That's 1-800-862-9481.
Me and Jordan have never raced against each other in any form of racing. We used to share a go-kart.
Yeah, I think once we get out there and we're head-to-head, I guess, I don't think we'll think about it being our brother. I think we'll just look at it as another car. I think that's the only way we need to look at it.
I don't know if the aggression is going to be more or less. Or
if we start being easy with each other or overly hard with each other, then people will start pointing at us.
I know I'm not going to give him anything extra, but
I think if we just treat each other like any other driver on the track, that'll be the best way to go about things.
That should be really interesting. I don't know who my dad's going to be cheering for. We get along really well, but
if we're not getting along that day, I'm sure it'll show on the track as well. So
we're both very competitive, and we both want to do the best job possible for each of our teams. So we'll be working hard to do our best.
Very professional young men, despite their youth. And if you've ever tried to launch a young racer into a professional career, you'll have some idea of how much Wayne Taylor has done to support his sons, Ricky and Jordan.
We've known these guys since we were kids and came to Skip Arbor and stuff, and they've come so far, and they've done such a tremendous job. They're so far ahead of the game as far as their age.
Well, they're still fast and accomplished behind the wheel, but they're just really nice young men, and I don't give Wayne any credit for that.
I don't either. Shelley and Skip Arbor.
Well, let's get more on the Velocity Worldwide number 10 with Chris Neville.
Bob spoke with Wayne Taylor just a few minutes ago, just checking in and seeing what kind of condition that car is in. And he said they're in great shape. The car has been working flawlessly. They've just been doing brake changes. They did 3 over the course of the race. He says they're in great shape for the finish. They don't have the all-out speed that the 01 car does, but he says they consistently are beating that Ganassi team in pit lane. But if we look back to that last time both cars, the 01 and the 10, were in pit lane, it looked like Jordan Taylor had a bit of a nose on the 01 car as they were exiting. But then we see Jordan Taylor giving way to that 01 car because the 01 car is in the fast lane. And that's a rule that is in the Rolex series, but we don't see that in NASCAR races. In NASCAR races, you can see cars 3 wide racing to the end of pit lane to try and race to that timing line. In this series, when you get a car in the fast lane, and even though you might be a little bit ahead of them, you've got to give way to that car.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't blend up to that fast line clean, then you basically have to stay in that intermediary lane and then give way to the car that is in the fast lane. So just a 1/10 of a second would have made the difference for a change of position.
This is about the time of the race where we start looking at the bench, the drivers who may hop into the car for those final stints. And they've got a pretty good lineup at number 10 with Max Angelelli and Ryan Hunter-Reay, the reigning IZOD IndyCar champion, available. There's our former leader in class in the GTs.
Nice to see the Momo car got back fixed and back on the racetrack. It was about to be back on the racetrack.
Brought up a good point about the time on the clock and the freshest driver. The maximum drive time you can do continuously is 3.5 hours, so it is feasible. In about 50 minutes, you could stick one in and take him to the checkered, but the type of shootout you're in, you don't want someone who's tired there in the last hour. So I think probably about 2 hours to go would be where you'd want to get your fresh horse behind the wheel.
Yeah, 2 hours, you're going to still be at the top of the second hour. You're still in pretty good shape. It's not hot today yet, but it's going to keep increasing in heat. And when we get down to that checkered flag, it'll be the warmest of the day.
Some wounded cars out there right now. The 50 car, they keep battling, digging deep. Had a great qualifying run by Ian James, putting the car up in the top 10. These guys too utilizing BMW power. Seems to be the engine to be that have this week.
Had a lot of issues over the night that they had to deal with, crisis management and so forth, and they got her going.
Checking the chicane once again. Whoa, ride him, cowboy.
Good save. Good save.
Oh, and it goes on and on.
Yeah, that was self-induced drama there.
That was close to a big one.
Yeah, very much so.
When he was pitching it around there through the first half of that chicane, that was close.
There's another charity car raising funds for the Alzheimer's Association. Oh, man, is that thing beaten up?
Yeah, they've had a rough night. They really did. But they've just kept it out there, and that's what you got to do here.
One note on that 30 car, they went from the class lead in GT with that suspension breakage. Kuba Kermaziak is out there now, 19th in class and 27 laps down the class leader.
Yeah, that car had been tough all day long, but you have to wonder whether it was abuse over the curbs or some kind of fatigue that suddenly caused that left front suspension to explode like that. And you never know. It's an off that you think you get away with. Something gets weak in Dorsey, and it'll come back and bite you maybe 6, 10, 12 hours later.
Well, those curbs are like body shots. They take their toll over a long period of time, and sooner or later, residual damage will occur.
A lot of work going on. Looked like a clean exit there for the 24. And there's the sister car, the WeatherTech Porsche.
Oh, oops. You got a bad go there.
The Rum-Bum crew really taking advantage of this pit stop to clean out that radiator grill. This crew is led by Joe Barty. They've had so much success over the years in Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series, 5 wins last year, and I tell you, he is one of the savviest strategists up and down pit lane. I tell you what, he's going to keep these guys in the hunt here. The car's good. They've got a great driver lineup. Matt Plummer, who regularly works with here in the States. 3 of the factory guys, and they're going to be tough.
And add to his resume, he's an engine builder. He's an ex-race car driver, a quite good one. Yep. He is full complement.
I called some of Joe's races back in the day in the old IMSA Camel GT series.
I think he's the only guy in the paddock last year who was actually shorter than Lee Diffie does.
No driver change on the 63? Or was there one? I don't think so. GT leader 44 Magnus Racing Porsche's in. Matt Yoakum.
The Porsche crew going to work. Andy Lally's going to get in. Nicholas gets out. In fact, he's the only driver in the lineup that doesn't have a class 1 here at the Rolex. And Andy told me, as we documented earlier, their biggest issue throughout the night has been the front splitter, just trying to keep that on the race car. Andy getting in. He also told me that as the temperatures continue to get up, the track getting more and more slick. It's going to be a handful as those temperatures continue to climb. They're going to top them off with some Sunoco fuel.
Well, you could hardly do better in difficult circumstances than to put Andy Lally in the car.
He can't stay in the whole time, unfortunately. It's a little bit too much for him to stay the whole gig. So, and like I say, that car, really, the only damage it's had all night was that front splitter, which has been a nuisance. I guess the holes that fix it are bigger than the bolts that hold it.
Into the 3 car, they've been having some smoking issues. Remember the gearbox issue they had early in the event in the first hour caused them to spend many minutes in the garage area fixing it, and we've seen wisps of smoke from a similar area, so have to wait and see. 56 car, what a run they're having, Bob. Still up in the top 10.
And into the car goes Michael Waltrip.
Talking to Michael the other day, and I said, how do you like this car? He goes, I'll be honest with you. He goes, I don't fit this thing at all.
Oh, absolutely.
He goes, my legs are too big, and he goes, when I turn to the right, it downshifts by itself because the paddle shifter hits on his leg. And look, the right front tire and wheel gone off to 3.
Chris Neville.
Yeah, Dorsey, and we also saw Rob Kaufman, one of the shortest drivers on the team, get out of the car. So going from shortest driver to tallest driver, having to pull all of those seat inserts out. And Michael Waltrip, taking a look at him as he was getting behind the wheel there. His knees almost up into that steering wheel just behind him. Saw the 60 car in for service, fuel and tires on that car. They're back on the lead lap after, what, about 18 hours, 19 hours? Finally back on the lead lap.
Yes, they are. The 99 Games Co. Corvette Daytona prototype also pits and out.
Questioning Stefan Sarazen's decision there. He's trying to get to the escape road here, but boy, he took a pretty wild ride. He's going to go straight back again. So he's trying to stay out of the chicane area, but he's going to potentially do even more damage to that front splitter with as much off-roading as he's doing. He's packing the radiator with grass, and engine temps will be an issue in the fact that here come the 02 and the 01. So Dixon trying to get a lap back. They're looking for a yellow here.
The 02 has consistently, I think it's fair to say, outperformed the 01 crew. We understand that's Dario Franchitti's Izod IndyCar crew servicing the 02 car. Go down to Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, we've got the 10 car, the 02, and the 01 and the 9 in, so a lot of our lead cars in here. The 02 still trying to make up laps out there, and we heard Wayne Taylor say that his team has been faster than the 01 car. This is going to be interesting to see who wins this race off pit lane, because the 10 car came in probably about 3 seconds after the 10 or the 01 car in there, and the 01 car does beat this car out, but it looks like they can pick up the lane.
Yeah, pretty even Steven on that one.
Now they back up the Camaro to make room.
You've got to work together. This is the problem. See, when we go under caution, they pit the classes separately so you don't run into this issue. And typically up and down pit lane, you've got alternate DPs versus GTs. So when the green flag stops, this is the type of problem you can have. But you've got to work together. You've got to realize that you're both coming in at the same time.
Well, he's made it back to the 3, but Sarrazin will lose a lap because he went straight. But that's not a bad penalty to pay when he's got no right front wheel tire, and that we have to assume was a pit problem because he had just been in the pits. I don't think they put that lug nut on there, or that monologue.
Maybe he just figured he couldn't make the hard left turn to get through the chicane, so decided he needed to try and angle it off. But
you know, that's not a bad penalty when you think about it. If you go straight in a wounded car like that, and you don't go through the back chicane, you shortcut the track, just do the oval, you get back quicker, it's only a 1-lap penalty.
90 back on track. What can you tell us, Chris?
Well, Ricky Taylor getting the 90 car back out on the racetrack. It's a little bit of a long stop down here. We heard Ollie Gavin say earlier that car was a bit of a handful in the warmer weather, so they added a taller wicker on the wing of that car, trying to get a little bit more downforce on the back end of that car. So probably about a 5 to maybe 10-second longer stop.
Getting back to the problem suffered by Bert Frizzell in the number 9 Action Express Corvette prototype, the Camaro was backed up, the Stevenson car. I'm not sure how, but in the time I've been on the mic up here above start finish, that's twice now that they've hit it too far from the wall to reach it with the fuel hose, which is why they had to back it up, and they got in the way of the 9.
Well, I think the 57 had to come in around the 9 so he couldn't get tucked in, and then the crew had to push him back in a position to get their fuel hose hooked up, and then you saw the consequences.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was deliberate, but well, to Chris Neville for the 2.
Yeah, Sebastian Bourdais staying behind the wheel in this car. 4 Continental tires, Sunoco fuel going in, gave him a fresh water bottle. He's been behind the wheel for quite a few hours this morning, and of the cars on the lead lap, this one definitely and battered a little bit more. There's a lot of body work on that car that's got donuts on it and rubber all over, and a couple spots that are pushed in, so those guys have been fighting hard.
Watch your pit lane speed. Now, here's a replay.
Yeah, Calvin, I think you're right. Both teams hurt each other. I mean, the 57 went around the 9, couldn't get tucked in. They had to push him back. That's blocked the 9. They didn't help one another. Let's put it that way.
Might be a few words spoken across the pit boxes at that point.
Fortunes of war. Meanwhile, work continues on the number 3.
Remember, these guys are a ton of laps down, having had that drama early in the race, having to explode the gearbox apart and make that fix. So they're on a different agenda.
About 48 laps down by my rough estimation. As you watch Memo Rojas at work, let's hear from Matt Yoakum in the pit.
And catching up with Lunacy driver Ryan Eversley. Good, solid third-place run by you guys right now.
Yeah, right now we're running third. We were running second all night. The car hasn't missed a beat except for one problem. We broke an axle around 2 in the morning, and that took about 15 laps to fix. We've made up a ton of laps. We made up like 6 or 7 laps, but unfortunately, you know, it's one of those things. Now we're waiting for the other cars to have a problem because everyone's running really well, but we're really excited to be third still.
You know, you're big on Twitter, and so many fans ask you questions and ask other drivers and even me what this racetrack is like throughout the 24 hours. And so many guys say it almost looks like a bomb went off when the sun comes up over so much debris all over this racetrack.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, we actually had the orange cone from Twitter here hanging out with us, so it's been a lot of fun. And we live tweeted some questions earlier for Continental Tire, which is really cool. They actually let me take their Twitter account over, which
you hijacked it?
Yeah, I hijacked it. Me and Oz Negri got together. We said, hey, we love the tires. Now we want to get on your Twitter account, tell everybody. So they said, okay, surprisingly. But yeah, when the sun comes up, it looks like a graveyard of race cars. You know, there's parts everywhere. And the funny thing is as soon as the sun came up, we all drove to the bus stop all night. It looked horrible, and they threw a caution to clean the bus stop up. So my teammate Lee Davis has the best looking track, and we drove through it all night just angry. So but we're doing really good. The Lunacy Clothing came in trucking along. We just gotta hope for a little bit of luck.
Real quick, Lunacy Clothing, they have a really neat clothing line dealing with temperature.
That's correct. We have a we have a product called Cold Black that we're exclusive to sell, and it basically a black T-shirt treated with Cold Black formula is as cool in the sun as a white T-shirt. So right now our cool suits are also, it's a black shirt, but it's been treated. So not only is it a cool shirt, but it's as cool as a white shirt in the sun. So we've been cool all night. I've done probably 10 hours, and I'm going to do 2 more hours to finish the race.
Now, I know you got an extra large and largest for the guys in the booth. Do you have extra midget for Calvin?
I don't know if they make any children's size, but I know they make an extra big one for Tommy Kendall. So we'll see what we can do.
That's right. That's nothing new. I used to treat my black clothing with ice bag.
Well, I can use TK's long pants or shorts as long pants, should I say.
And it's cooler at night when there is no sunshine. Oh, well. It's going to be an interesting season here on the Grand Am Rolex Trail. We'll take another break and return with another car in the garage.
You hear that? That's the sound of car insurance companies these days. Here a cheap, there a cheap, everywhere a cheap. You get it. So what if instead of just a cheap choice, you could make a smart choice? Like Esurance, for example. They were born online and built to save people money from the beginning. That's what they've always done. Not just something they cheap about. That's insurance for the modern world. Esurance, now backed by Allstate. Click or call.
And this new Santa Fe breakfast toaster is great.
I know, my cheddar sausage breakfast toaster, melty perfection.
What have we been doing? I feel like I've wasted my entire life not grilling my sandwiches.
First thing I would do if I had a time machine is go back and grill all my breakfast sandwiches.
Really? That's all you would do with a time machine?
Well, I might go back to high school and ask Laurel out.
My wife?
Well, she wouldn't be your wife anymore, would she?
Say good morning to the all-new breakfast toasters. Fluffy eggs, grilled veggies, and melty cheese. This is how you Sonic.
Feeling buried by all the piles of paper in your home or office? Maybe it's time you traded in the old filing cabinet for a new office assistant. Meet the Neat Desk Scanner and Organizer, the only scanner that actually thinks while it scans. With Neat Desk, all your important documents can be easily scanned and then organized with the NeatWorks software. So that shoebox full of receipts instantly becomes a manageable expense report. That stack of business cards can go directly into your computer's contact list. Virtually any piece of paper automatically becomes a searchable document that you can find with a simple keyword. And here's the best part. If you call or visit us at tryneat.com right now, you can try the Neat Desk or the amazing Neat Portable Scanner for 30 days absolutely free. We'll even pay for the return postage if you decide to send it back. That's how confident we are that you'll love your Neat Organizer. So give us a call or go to tryneat.com for your 30-day free trial and say goodbye to all that paper.
And the crowd has turned out in droves, expecting to see a great race. And every driver has but one goal, and that is to win the race.
Green, green, green. Look at them jostling around it. That is a dangerous move. That is high risk. What a race. What a day.
Tune in to the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series. Saturday, March 2nd, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, only on Speed.
That's just a taste of what you'll find in the photo galleries at Speed.com. We hope you're enjoying every minute of our coverage of the 24 hours of Daytona. Not only here on Speed, but we are still streaming cameras live at Speed.com. So go there, check for live race updates, chat with other Rolex 24 fans, check out the Grid Girl photos, and a whole lot more. It's all exclusive, but it's all yours at Speed.com. Now let's go to Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, last night Jimmy McMurray and the 02 car got into the pit wall exit, damaging the right front and right rear of that car. Scott Dixon, you guys went down 7 laps with the changes, with the repairs that had to happen to that car. Now just down 2 laps. Is that car in good shape?
It's not bad. You know, the steering's off a little bit. You know, I feel bad for Jamie. You know, he's a great teammate and a guy that definitely digs deep for us. And these little things can happen. And obviously, he got into the pit wall and it wrecked the car a little bit and went down a few laps, about 7. So we're fighting back. We've got 5 of the 7. Hopefully, we can get 2 more. It's what, 4 hours to go or something. So you know, we've still got a chance. We just have to dig deep and try and get some of those back. But the car itself is still pretty fast. We were able to drive through the pack there and pick up another lap on that last stint.
Well, Scott Dixon was trying to get back to his coach to get some rest. He's been up all night. Thanks for stopping with us, and we'll let him get out of here.
And that's really good of Scott to commiserate with Jamie McMurray. I can't imagine what it's like to make that kind of mistake, and certainly we all make mistakes, and then go back to your 3 teammates who have been busting butt trying to win the race.
That is the real difference, Bob, in endurance racing. When you are sharing a car with other drivers, you make a mistake when you're a single-seater driver or a sprint race driver of any description. It's your problem. You deal with it. But when you have to come back and face your teammates, I mean, and Scott knows Jamie really well. There's a lot of respect amongst that whole group of 4 drivers, and it can happen to anyone. So I've done it. I've crashed here in a big race for Mazda when I was representing them one year, and it's gut-wrenching.
Yeah, there's a lot of faces you got to look at when you come back in, that's for sure.
Now we've had some more action in the GT class down in turn 1. Check out what happened to Italian Edoardo Mortara in the 24 Audi. Underneath another car.
Taking it way deep in there, almost caught it. Oh, that's the 69 again. Boy, oh boy, Mark Wilkins has been attacked at every angle.
Must have a target on him.
He's thinking, what the heck is going on with these guys? You know, Mark's a really smart young man. I mean, he realizes the big picture here, and you know, you don't need to be racing this hard. We're still 4 hours to go, boys. And this is Eduardo Mortara. He's a stud. I mean, he won 2 DTM races last year. To do that means you are at the top of your game.
Great evasive action by Mark Wilkins there. I can't imagine going into that corner and watching a car coming at you, and the driver is obviously losing control, and you got to figure out where to go so as not to be victimized.
Which luckily they've opened that up on the exit so much compared to what it used to be that you can get away with some of those. Those were all wrecks before, a few years back.
There's Mortara back up to speed. There's Michael Waltrip with his knees up on the dashboard, elbows out, shifting away whether he likes it or not. Yeah, and I'm looking closely at his helmet. I think he actually has to crank his head over a little bit to see under that sun strip, and that has got to be brutal on your neck.
What he's doing, he told me about that too. He said, I got to cock my head over like this to see the shift lights. He goes, I can't see the shift lights on the dash because I'm too tall. And he goes, every time I turn the steering wheel to the right, I downshift.
And I tell you what, the problem with that, you can kind of get adjusted and you can get into a rhythm, but when the car suddenly gets a bit swirly and you've got to catch it and you're not comfortable, that's a whole different ball game.
This is
your arms and elbows and you're hitting stuff. That's not cool.
This is their new car. He goes, it's a faster car than the other car, but he goes, it just doesn't fit him. I mean, he said, literally, I don't have any room in this.
Yep, Michael needs to enter a car for a bunch of NBA stars and ride with them because that's the kind of height we're talking about. But he's here, and that's his story, the Rolex 24, among some 250 drivers who started the day.
When considering a luxury car, who do you ask for advice? Your cousin spray tans. Your coworker makes mixtapes. And the neighbor is a reenactor. Maybe you should ask the experts, like Edmunds.com and like Forbes. The Acura TL. Luxury. Highly recommended.
Visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the 2013 TL.
that fuels the WeatherTech racing team is the same that drives us to make the highest quality automotive accessories. WeatherTech, driven to perform.
We now offer your family phone service as low as $1.70 a month with Magic Jack Plus. As low as $19.95 a year. No computer needed. Keep your old phone number. That's right. Keep your old phone number. Start saving today. Available at Walmart.
No garage is complete until you fire up a Hot Rod Grill. This realistic engine barbecue has a stainless grill, aluminum block, heads, and intake. Watch as your exhaust smoke comes right out of the zoomies. Order by phone or log on to HotRodGrills.com today.
Monster Energy Supercross Anaheim, Saturday, 10:30 Eastern, live on Speed.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get everything you needed for your small business for free? Like a building for free, a company car for free, your business website built for free? The cost to have your website professionally built can be thousands of dollars, but for a limited time, you can have yours built by the experts at Web.com absolutely free. And that's not all. Web.com will promote your new website in all the major search engines, like Google, Yahoo, and Bing. If you're happy with your new website, we'll continue to provide promotion, hosting, support, and maintenance, all for just one low monthly fee. If not, cancel and pay nothing. Call now to get your new site up and running in as little as 7 days free. Over 1 million small businesses rely on Web.com every day. Call now and find out why.
Call 1-800-862-9481 today. That's 1-800-862-9481.
The Rolex 24 at Daytona is brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms. And by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. Just under 4 hours remaining in the 2013 edition of the Rolex 24. We'll give you a look down through the entire field in order, beginning with the top 10. And our leader in the GT class now firmly in the top 10. The 44 Magnus Racing Porsche in the hands of Andy Lally, trying to go back-to-back at the Rolex 24.
He's got about half a dozen of those Rolex watches, and he said, I got a couple more people I want to pay back and give them to, and you get one for winning here and one for the championship, so he's expecting big things.
And it wasn't so long ago that one watch went to the winning team, and the drivers and car owner could all fight over it, but now everybody gets them.
Yeah, Calvin and I can tell you about that. Neither about that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, back when we won here, only the overall winners got them, and not the class winners, so... Beautiful watch and something to be proud of.
Sandy Negrao, former GP2 driver.
All you got was a bloody nose out of it.
I was supposed to get some headsets from someone last year, but there were 2 pairs delivered to the booth, and I don't have any, and you have a couple at home. I don't understand how that happened.
They weren't that good.
And the DNS next to the 93 of Michael Marsal. That car crashed heavily in preparation for this race and did not start for the Turner Motorsports team. 56 cars in all started, 16 officially shown out of the race, but that's kind of a moving target because these teams will not give up. And there are a number of cars down there getting hammered on, trying to get them back to see the checkered flag.
Boy, has this car been dominant, though, this year, Bob. It's now led over 330 laps. Only led 96 last year, and there's just been a big swing in terms of last year. They were driven around by the Fords, and this year it looks like they've got a similar advantage on them. So there's been a change. The Fords have got less reps since the end of last year. They've made some internal adjustments on all of the engines, and BMW seem to come out the box strong.
Jeff Siegel looking to have some mechanical issues here.
Just making the pit lane.
Defending series champion.
We can do that while we're waiting.
2-car effort now from Alan for the year. He's going to be teamed with Max Pappas for the year. Bissy Keller and Vilander joined the boys for the 24.
When we came on the air, it was a Ferrari 1-2 and GT. Ferrari's now running 2nd, 6th, and 8th. As the crew goes to work, let's go to Mac Yocum.
Bob, up and down the pit lane, I don't think there's any make that has more pride and passion for auto racing than the Ferrari brand. And Mr. Marco Mattiacci, president of Ferrari North America, your cars are really running well, sir.
Yes, we are very happy to be here. We have very competitive team, 6 cars, and I think the last 3 hours are going to be very, very interesting. We have a lot of clients here, so Daytona for us is an iconic racetrack. It's perfect fit for Ferrari, for the history of our brand, 1967, 1998. Let's see today, but we are having a lot of fun, so that's the most important thing. We are competing.
So many people remember back to that 1998 win. It was very special for so many reasons.
Yes, I mean, the iconic car like the 33SP, the 33P4, I mean, the red color, the passion, and people. This brand is made by cars, but a lot of extremely talented drivers like we have today, and like we have had in the past. So America for us is very important. So we have a lot of American drivers today. A perfect fit. I'm very happy on it.
On Friday, another unique and very fun race to watch was the Ferrari Challenge.
Yeah, the Ferrari Challenge. I mean, it's for the first time here, the 20th anniversary, to support the race in Daytona, the 24 hours. We have an amazing hospitality and venue where we are having barbecue, discussing about cars. So we are in ecstasy.
Well, good luck for the final few hours here of trying to score another win.
That's going to be very interesting 3 hours, believe me.
Make sure you tune in next Saturday, 3 p.m. to see the Ferrari Challenge right here on Speed. Bob?
The right color, thank you, Matt. Russell Corsa, synonymous with the prancing horse. Ferrari North America is based in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, and last November at the U.S. Formula One Grand Prix at Austin, in an effort to raise money for Superstorm Sandy repairs, they auctioned off the rights to the first new Ferrari, and I've forgotten the model, I must say, but it was coming to the United States for the first
story
time.
to end with.
The first one, yeah, thanks, Cal. First one to go delivered to a customer. It was sold at auction through Ferrari dealers around the country and sold for about $1 million, I'm told.
The one down here's got my drool all over it. When I saw it make 780 horsepower, I was like, oh my God, I need that.
I was going to say 599, but that's not it. It's
got 12 of them.
Well, a short while ago, we saw Seabass take a ride through the kink there on the infield. Very rarely do you see that man make a mistake in whatever type of car he's driving. He has really been a hit with his Starworks group since he came on board last year. Had that big win at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis race, the inaugural Grand Am race at Indy, and he and Alex Popoff and Peter Barron really respect this man's abilities and wanted him in his car for this 24 hours big time. They really did a lot of work to get the right lineup. Ryan Dial, Alan McNish, Sebastian Bourdais, and Alex Popoff. They came into this race feeling really, really good about their chances. This was the battle last year. Mike Schenk's group up against the Starworks group. Right now, they run almost one lap apart. Justin Wilson behind the wheel of the 60 machine. Seabass trying to recover from that off, and the subsequent pit stop has put them one lap off the lead.
It's amazing how fortunes can change year to year when you consider the Ganassi boys, for example, winners of this race overall 4 times in the last 7 years. Last year, didn't even make the podium. But they're in a position to claim another victory, though we have a long way to go. Back down to the pit lane.
Well, it's Alan McNish who's going to take over that 2 car at the end of this stint. And Alan, we saw Sebastian Bourdais go off the track, possibly damaging the front of that car. You lost a little bit of time in pit lane. Was there any real damage there? I heard that possibly some splitter damage.
No, I think it's more just the grass in the radiator. So obviously that needs to be cleaned out of the motor overheat. And so they cleaned that out, put some water in to cool it all down, and off he's gone again.
You guys are down 1 lap right now. Plenty of time to make that up. But if you make it up and get back on the lead lap, do you have something to fight for the finish?
We've been fighting since the word go, to be honest with you. We don't have any more speed. That's the big issue right now, is that we're, you know, when the Ganassi cars go flat out, they're a second a lap faster than us. And they overtake us easily on the straight. So if we're ahead, it's difficult to defend. If you're behind, there's no chance to pass them.
Well, Alan McNish obviously wanting to try and break through, get his first win at the Rolex 24. He's had so much success at Le Mans and at Sebring, but he just can't seem to get in the win column here.
Yeah, 3 times a runner-up, Chris, and we just were on board there with Sebastien Bourdais when he took that ride after the kink, and there's a lot of crossroads that you hit, and he probably got lucky if he didn't damage the splitter. But remember last year, Lucas Luhr had the off in the chicane, Dorsey, and tore up the rear body work, and that took the edge off the car, and I really feel it came down to 5.5 seconds at the end, and I don't think the Star Wars car had the same pace as Shank's car at the end and cost him the Rolex.
And definitely what we've been talking about throughout this event is the fact that nobody seems to be able to come up against the Ganassi cars on a one-on-one and be able to beat them, and that is disturbing coming in toward the end of the race, knowing that you might have to go head-to-head with them.
On-board look at Sebastien Bourdais in the office. Have I got you looking at the driver's eyes yet? Once again, no blinking. Don't you blink either. We'll be back before you know it with more live coverage. About 3 hours and 45 minutes remaining at Daytona.
They're coming out of the hills to conquer the world.
You think your little Euro trash ride can beat my American muscle?
John Reap and his Mullet Mafia pit muscle against import in an epic 3-round battle for a $10,000 paycheck.
He's gonna ram that American muscle all the way down your throat. Don't mess with rednecks, man.
Are you faster than a redneck?
Bring it on.
Catch a special preview after the trucks race, February 22nd, only on Speed.
15 manufacturers, 24 races, 162 race cars, 489 drivers, over 100,000 laps, nearly 300,000 miles. One tire manufacturer. Continental Tire. Innovative technology, driving confidence.
This is Anna. Her long day teaching the perfect swing begins with back pain and a choice. Take Advil and maybe have to take up to 4 in a day. Or take Aleve, which can relieve pain all day with just 2 pills. Good eye.
Racing cars and stopping Alzheimer's disease? Actually, it makes perfect sense. Because whether you're a race car driver, a roadie, or a rocker, Alzheimer's can happen to you. I'm Brian Johnson, and I'm a driver for the most powerful group in the fight, the Alzheimer's Association. Donate today to the Highway to Help and get us across the finish line just a bit faster.
NASCAR is back, and Speed delivers Daytona's biggest thrills. Contact again. Drama and racing excitement. Oh! Live coverage of Daytona Speed Weeks begins February 14th, only on Speed.
Sun damage, age spots, dark marks. They all add up to a less than perfect complexion, but your skin could look so much better. Introducing the new Dark Spot Corrector from Proactive that's designed to help fade discoloration, brighten skin tone, and erase dark marks and sunspots to give you beautiful, even-toned skin.
It makes my skin look flawless. You can't even tell there was ever a blemish or a dark spot there.
Order Proactive today for only $19.95, and the amazing Dark Spot Corrector is yours free. Plus, for a limited time, your shipping is free.
Within the first week of using it, I could tell a difference on just the evenness of my skin tone and getting rid of those dark spots.
Get the Dark Spot Corrector and these great free extras, an $82 value for only $19.95.
People have asked me, you have really nice skin, what have you done? Proactive, that's always the answer.
And when you order today, your shipping is free. Call 1-800-353-3024 because having clear, flawless skin just got easier with Proactive.
Speed has an exclusive deal for the Brickyard Grand Prix come July. This special $24 ticket offer is available only during our coverage of the 24 hours here at Daytona. So visit speed.com/deals now to purchase this special offer. Hurry. You only have up until about 4 p.m. Eastern Time when we leave air after this Rolex 24. Well, we talked at the top of the show about the incredible lineup of drivers from other forms of motorsports, checking with the IZOD IndyCar Series stars. Charlie Kimball's in position to win a Rolex watch in his debut here at the Rolex 24 with Chip Ganassi Racing. Scott Dixon, Dario Franchitti, Indy 500 winners. There you see the other IndyCar drivers here and how they've done. How about the NASCAR notables? Juan Pablo Montoya is in the 01, Jamie Murray the 02. Michael Waltrip still dealing with that Ferrari, teaming with Clint Boyer. Now let's go to Matt Gilchrist.
And Bob, Marcos Ambrose getting ready to suit up with his helmet and get ready to get in this race car to relieve Justin. So how were your stints during the night? Describe them for the fans at home, and especially in your homeland.
Look, this team does not quit. We were 8 laps down at one point, now we're on the lead lap. My stints are pretty good. I did 2 doubles. We managed to claw back 4 laps during that process with the race format. Very smooth. They got lucky with traffic. So I just got 1 more double to go and hand it over to AJ and let him do the rest.
Is there anything left in the car?
Well, there's not much left in me. I don't feel like a spring chicken, but I've got enough left in the tank to get the job done here for a double. And, you know, the car's okay. We bent the steering early on. We've been fighting that pretty much the whole time. But the track's coming to us as the weather gets slicker. Our car seems to be more competitive.
Now, back during the roar, you had a very unique, kind of like George Clooney and Brother Where Art Thou beard. What happened to the beard?
I just got scared of it. I mean, it was looking so woolly, I didn't know where I was going to end up. I thought I was going to be up panty for gold Alaska or something. I had a lot of fun with it, but it doesn't match race cars and helmets very well, but we might bring it back.
All right, well, good luck during your 2 stints, and then A.J. Allmendinger's going to get in for the final run to the finish, Bob.
All right, thanks, Matt. Problems on track for the 02. Stopped.
Wow, and they needed yellows to claw their way back, and it looks like they may be creating one here. Dario Franchitti behind the wheel, and we get that yellow. Don't see any damage or anything major, Dorsey, so...
It's always this way, though, isn't it? I mean, you get down to the waning mower, and it's done 3 hours and 40 minutes, and we have a mechanical of some sort.
We didn't see Jamie McMurray's hit, so I'm not sure if possibly a rear wheel got hit, where it could be driveline now related, something like that, but obviously the car has no power, the ability to continue. Dario behind the wheel. And just as they were getting back in the game, they needed 2 more yellows to get back on that lead lap. The car had pace, as Scott Dixon mentioned. The steering wheel is a little askew, but he said it still had pace, and they could have been a factor, but this may be the final blow.
That's our 14th full course caution of the race thus far to Chris Neville.
Bob, just checked in with Mike Hall, who goes the shots on the 02 car. He says it's definitely driveline. They don't know what it is. They're talking to Dario, trying to figure it out. But he said most likely we aren't going to know until we get it back here. And so they think they're essentially out of the fight at this point in time. Now the 01 setting up for a pit stop. And interestingly, they are bringing out another set of brake pads, brake rotors, brake calipers, all a single set to go on this car. Tim Keene told me earlier today that they were ready to go to the end of the finish, but he said his only concern was they were kind of stretching it on brakes. So interesting to see that they're probably going to take advantage of this caution and put new brakes on the 01 car.
And that's what we've been talking about, Bob. We talked about that fog period where we had lengthy yellow. That would mean a 7-hour stint on those brakes. And they could have maybe made it, but they realized it could be an absolute shootout, and they're going to lose some track position here. They're willing to do it, Dorsey, to make sure the car is absolutely 100% at the end of this race.
I think it's a smart move. They got this late caution that they need right now, and they're going to go ahead and make that car capable of running at 10/10, and that's what it's going to take to win today.
And you saw who was up on the pit wall, helmet in place, Scott Pruitt. Will he be the setup man for the team closer, Juan Pablo Montoya? We'll find out. Marcos Ambrose standing by for the 60.
We all make bad decisions, like, say, gas station sushi. Cheap is good, and sushi, good, but cheap sushi, not so good. It's like that super low rate on not enough car insurance. Pretty sketchy. And then there are the good decisions, like Esurance. Their coverage counselor tool helps you choose the right coverage for you at a great price, without feeling queasy. That's insurance for the modern world. Esurance, now backed by Allstate. Click or call.
From Maine to Maui, thousands of high school students across the country are getting in on the action by volunteering in their communities.
It's great helping others, and it feels good too. Are you in?
Whoa! Anyone can do it. All it takes is a little time. Are you in?
Action teams of high school students are joining Volunteers of America and Major League Baseball players to help train and inspire the next generation of volunteers.
It's easy to start an action team at your school, so you too can get in on the action.
Are you in? Get in on the action at actionteam.org.
Welcome to Cook It Safe Challenge, where teams compete to make the right decisions about safe food preparations. Our challenge in this round, read and follow package cooking instructions and use a food thermometer. Let's see how our teams are doing so far. Team 1.
We just got 100 points.
We separated our raw food from our cooked food.
Team 2.
We got a 100-point green card for proper hand washing before our meal prep.
We've reached a critical safety point in the challenge. Okay, Team 1, let's check this out. Uh-oh.
Turn one there, and I heard a ping from the back of the car. I lost all the drive. So first thing I did was check. I still had gears, and I hadn't screwed the gearbox. So, but no forward drive, and that's the end of our day.
How disappointing is it for a team that drove all through the night, overcame the problems that you did have, and then to have this happen now?
It's very disappointing. It's disappointing for everybody on the team. I mean, we could recover from the stuff in the night. This is terminal. We can't recover from it. And even if we could, it's too late in the day now, you know. So that's disappointing. We've had very strong cars. Both the team cars were strong. I will say, though, I think it's going to be a hell of a run to the finish. I think there's been a lot of complaining out there, but there's definitely been some sandbagging from the others. And it's kind of a boring thing to talk about, but I think there's a lot of more stronger cars out there than we think. And I hear Montoya's finishing the race, so that should be some fireworks.
Either way, it's going to be exciting to watch. Thanks, Dario.
It's been a pretty familiar theme all really month-long since the roar before the 24 back in early January. And obviously a star-studded group. Juan Pablo Montoya standing there talking to Marino Franchitti and Dario Franchitti. Marino was entered in one of the Speed Source Mazdas, the 70, with the Skyactiv diesel technology that unfortunately left the race a little bit earlier in the going, but you know, Chip puts a good team together, a good group together, and these guys, it's like you said, Tommy, I mean, the 01's out there and hadn't had a problem yet. You would want to keep the 02 going if indeed it was fixable. So
that's actually probably what makes Chip and the 01 guys nervous, is it's really been a trouble-free run. And so, you know, an incident like this, there's no way of knowing if this is what, but it sounds like an input shaft probably broke inside the transmission. That's exactly what would be stressed the most on those. If you don't do a tire change and you leave too hard on hot tires, you don't get any slip, really puts a shock through the driveline. So you have to worry about what might be right about to break on any of these cars.
The Audi R8 safety car dives to the pits, and the number 10, Ryan Hunter-Ray, leads the field of green.
The perfect start for him. He lets clean air as he goes by.
You see the 01, Scott Pruitt now behind the wheel, 4 cars back in the line. Right behind the 60, Marcus Ambrose behind the wheel of the 60, and Pruitt bobbles just a little bit in the 90. The
two-tone blue Chevy Corvette driven by Antonio Garcia. Really taking the fight to Pruitt. He's not going to give it up easily.
That seems to be about their only weakness. Pruitt referenced it, that he says it takes a little bit for the car to get going on cold tires. But once it settles in, they've got clearly the superior speed to everybody else. It's interesting to see. So now we pretty much have an idea what it's going to come down to. They're going to try to get Allmendinger in the 60. They're going to put JPM Montoya into the 01. Looks like you're going to have Max the Axe in the Wayne Taylor Velocity Worldwide car, and so it's starting to take shape.
All the finishes, all the hard closes that we've seen over the years are being lined up, which is great for everyone watching.
Top 6 cars all on this same lap. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Mike Rockefeller, Marcus Ambrose, Antonio Garcia, Scott Pruitt, Alan McNish. That is quite a list of drivers running right there. 64 lead changes in the event, and that ties a record.
These are the guys leading up to the anchor leg, and you've got the names.
Yeah,
Hunter-Reay, McNish, Pruitt. Just shows how stacked. And the same thing it holds true in the GT class as well.
Mike Rockefeller second right now in the number 9 Action Express Corvette. A winner at Le Mans. A winner at Sebring.
I'm going to have to say, everyone's talked about the engine power during this race. Various team owners and drivers, they look pretty equal. BMW, Chevy, as they come past on the front straight here at this stage of the race. Everyone's tuned their cars. We've been seeing that through the night and early morning. Everyone's been tuning their cars. Very unusual, I think, for Daytona to see that level of in-race, tuning.
Yeah, and we see one of the contenders in GT heading down pit road, the 24 WeatherTech Audi. But the straightaway speed could well be the deciding factor. Track position, of course, important, but that superior top end that the BMW Riley that Chip Ganassi has and everybody else has been working on. All the other cars we've talked to have talked about how they're trying to optimize their straightaway.
Eduardo Mortera in the 24, the R8 from WeatherTech serving a penalty, and perhaps this is some type of infraction once again on the wave by procedure, because this looks like a pretty lengthy penalty. Crew standing behind the wall, nothing that they can do. You see the official standing there still holding, and it seems like an eternity. And there's a look at the 44. Andy Lally leading in the 44 from Magnus Racing. Understanding avoidable contact is the call on the 24, so he's serving that penalty. And that Magnus Porsche looks battered and beaten. They've replaced the front splitter. There's a mirror that's sagging off on the right side, but still running the pace.
It's interesting in that car because Lally is probably the most successful driver that you could have in their lineup in that car. And at this stage of the race, I wonder if he'll get out and then get back in for the close.
He's been in for a while. I'm pretty sure they're setting up. They did it last year with Richard Leeds. And so I remember Lally had very high praise for him last year, and so they're obviously teeing him up for the run. He's one of the factory Porsche young shoes, and they're going to put him in. And so the fact that Andy Lally, the lead guy that's got 7 Rolexes, is not the guy they feel is the strongest for the last run.
Top 3 at GT right there, but you look at the front splitter on the 44. We know they had to replace it. It has a bunch of tape on it as well, and we've got 3 hours and 14 minutes to go. We say it over and over and over again. The car needs to be near perfect in order to win this thing, and he is being pursued heavily right now by Mark Wilkins in the 69 AIM FXDD Ferrari.
Yeah, we're going to see these guys navigate their way around that car.
And Pruitt taking advantage of traffic.
Just gained a position there from the 60. Coming onto the bank, you can see the way he has such a nice exit traction.
So give you a good view of the relative straightaway speed of these cars. And I said, we heard the other guys saying they're working on optimizing it. It's not, you can get plenty of straightaway speed by laying the wing down within reason. The problem is braking is really affected by downforce, all these things. So there's no free lunch. You can't just say, oh, let's dial up the straightaway speed. You hurt something else more, and so net, they seem to have the best all around.
And of course, the start-finish line here at Daytona is a long way around at the end of a straightaway. 3 hours, 13 minutes and change to go, and Scott Pruitt is on the charge, trying to move to the front and take his record-tying 5th overall victory at the Rolex 24. Plenty of racing still to come from Daytona.
test drove it. You bargained for it. And now you care for it every single day. When you drive, it protects you. It transports you in style. The only thing that lies between you and the road are your tires. Continental Tire. Innovative technology. Driving confidence. And done.
Did you just turn your ringer off so no one would interrupt us?
Oh, no. I just used my Geico app to get a tow truck. It's going to be here in 30 minutes.
Oh. So that means we won't be stuck up here for hours with nothing to do.
Oh, I get it. You want to pass the time, huh?
Fruit Ninja!
Emergency roadside assistance. Just a click away with the Geico mobile app.
You make me laugh and show me just how good this life can be. And in our moments filled with joy is where I live, where I am free. Lay in my arms, I hold you tight, just like you like, continually. And I am overwhelmed by you.
Look, if you have COPD like me, you know it can be hard to breathe and how that feels. COPD includes chronic bronchitis and emphysema. Spiriva helps control my COPD symptoms by keeping my airways open for 24 hours. Plus, it reduces COPD flare-ups. Spiriva is the only once-daily inhaled COPD maintenance treatment that does both.
Spiriva, Handihaler tiotropium bromide inhalation powder, does not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms. Tell your doctor if you have kidney problems, glaucoma, trouble urinating, or an enlarged prostate. These may worsen with Spiriva. Discuss all medicines you take, even eye drops. Stop taking Spiriva and seek immediate medical help if your breathing suddenly worsens, your throat or tongue swells, you get hives, vision changes or eye pain, or problems passing urine. Other side effects include dry mouth and constipation.
Nothing can reverse COPD. Spiriva helps me breathe better.
Ask your doctor about Spiriva.
February 21st, NASCAR's biggest stars return to the world center of racing for the Budweiser Duel at Daytona. 2 action-packed white-knuckle races.
This is the ultimate go-or-go-home day
that set the field for the Daytona 500. Oh! The Budweiser Duel at Daytona, February 21st, live at 2 Eastern, only on Speed.
A familiar phrase that we've used throughout the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Scott Pruitt leads in the 0-1. The BMW-powered Riley from Ganassi Racing. He just took the lead from Ryan Hunter-Reay, but it was not easy at all. And Tommy, you and I were talking about the level of frustration on some of these other drivers. Does that make it even more difficult for Pruitt? Ryan Hunter-Reay definitely putting up a fight.
He heads around the outside here. You think he's got it, but of course Ryan has got the inside line, and he goes, you know what? I'm going to use all the road that's rightfully mine.
He drove it in way deep and almost couldn't get it stopped. And Pruitt had enough awareness to give him some room, so they didn't get together. But he's, you know, we said it before last night. I mean, Hunter-Reay is a fierce competitor, and so they're trying to win this. Whether, I mean, I don't believe in the conspiracy that they parked the 02 so they could put brakes on the 01. I will contend it was very fortuitous for the 01 if they really were getting a long pedal like Rojas said and need to get the brakes off that car. Whether it was good karma or conspiracy, whatever it was good fortune.
Well, they've had good fortune throughout this event. No problems as of yet for the 0-1. Now, Ryan Hunter-Reay was able to hold Pruitt off heading into 1, but as they came back onto the banking, Ryan Hunter-Reay slides a little high.